Oh, wait, I want to use the term that I learned since we started Shandy, which is DTR.
Yes, there you go.
And he still doesn't even know what it means. Dear Shandy. Welcome back to Dear Shandy, listeners. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
Doing okay.
Doing
How are
okay.
you?
I'm good.
Good to hear.
It's caller day.
It is.
We
It
love
is.
a caller.
Yeah.
Yes. And we are joined today by Emily. Emily, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Do you mind giving us your age, the age of the person in question, your city or region, whatever you're comfortable sharing, and your story, please?
Yeah, so I am 27. Person in question is 26. We both have birthdays coming up. We're both Leos. So if that's relevant. My one-liner that I kind of want to not go off on tangent. So my one-liner is like the like clincher is he still lives with his ex-girlfriend and it's pretty messy. We've been dating about almost 6 months. I've known him for like a decade. We dated before, but we've never lived in the same area till now. We're both in Colorado. So we've always had like, I don't know, he's someone that's been on the back of my mind for a long time. We've kind of kept in touch. The last time we dated, I was like 19, he was 18. We only had like a month together and then I was moving out of the state. So we kind of knew there was a timeline on it. And anytime I was back in town, we would like reconnect, but we hadn't lived in the same area until in like December of 2021. And I reached out to him because I had just moved to the city and I reached out to anyone I knew in Colorado and we just like hit it off immediately again. Trying to think of the most prevalent information. He did not tell me he was in a relationship when we reconnected. I asked him that directly if he was single. He said he was. And then it was after we hooked up that I realized he still not only was like with this person for 2 years, but they were still living together. So there was a lot of like secrecy at the beginning. We've had many arguments about that. So he broke up with her shortly after we hooked up. But it basically started.
Wait a second.
That counts for something.
Yeah. Okay. So he was still dating the girlfriend with whom he still lives when you guys hooked up. You've been dating for 6 months or like dating? Like what do you, have you, oh wait, I want to use the term that I learned since we started Shandy, which is DTR.
Yes, there you go.
And he still doesn't even know what it means.
Oh, wait, I got this.
You could do this. Remember early on, like our first Q&A. DTR.
Okay, I got it.
Well, think about the context.
Right.
Why would I mention this?
Dating?
No.
Oh. Down to...
You thought it was down to rock?
Down to rock.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which is not.
Okay. Yeah.
It's to define...
What's the first word? Define the relationship.
Good job.
Nice.
Good job.
Okay.
Have you defined the relationship?
He wants to. I have not felt comfortable doing that because to me, this is such a messy situation. It's way easier for me to just compartmentalize it as like friends with benefits, I guess, than to like call it like, oh, we're together, because I feel that he's like benefiting a lot from like still living with this other person. Like she does they both have pets, for example. So like they take care of each other's pets when they're away. Like she works at a pet store. So they like cover she like covers his expenses for the dogs and stuff. Like they're in a lot of communication. She was taking him to work for a while. Like they would co-ride shares to work. So there's several factors. He had a horrible injury earlier this year in January. So basically he had seasonal work that abruptly ended. So he lost his work really unexpectedly. So he was out of work for like 2 months and then he broke his arm like severely. So I had to have like 12 screws in his arm.
Skiing?
His car got broken.
Skiing. Huh? Skiing
in Colorado?
Right?
No, he was skateboarding.
Oh, all right. Same thing.
Andy really wanted this to be a skiing
I
in
assumed
Colorado.
skiing. I was going for the top Family Feud answer.
Yeah. You should have been right.
Yeah, I should have been. You're right.
Yeah, it could have been. And then his car got broken into, so he lost his car. So he's had like a horrible year. Let me preface by saying that. He's had like one of the worst years. And then I entered the picture. He wasn't very honest with me, but I also came at a weird time because we've been like wanting to try to date for a really long time. So we both, I think, felt like, we finally are in the same area. And like, so I think he felt pressured to just like push through and make it happen, even though it wasn't the best timing for him.
And even though he was literally dating someone else and living with them.
Yeah. In his words, he feels that they were never that serious. He made it clear, like he never wanted anything posted online.
I wonder how
he really
feels.
kept her.
Yeah.
I feel terrible for her. She's had a horrible time. I really feel bad for her, honestly.
Yeah, he came home. He came home that day. He's like, "So, how was your day?" It's like, "Oh, I told someone I was single." It's like, "Oh, nice."
Yeah, I just am curious about her side of the story and where she thought this was going, given they have a lease. Yeah. I assume it's a lease. They rent together, correct?
Yeah, so that's part of what bothers me is their lease ended, I think in February. So he's just there month to month now. Like he could theoretically leave it. They're not like tied in together anymore.
Okay. So I think we have some questions before we want more detail. How long were they dating?
2 years.
2 years, and they moved in how far into the relationship?
They met because they were roommates. He moved in just as an acquaintance.
Ooh, that can be messy.
Okay. Well, they ended where they began, which is good.
Oh, good point. They didn't move in. You're right. Maybe it isn't.
Yeah. Maybe he was single when he said he was single. Just happened to be living with his girlfriend. No big deal.
Okay. So you finally came back, and he's like, "Oh, we never."
I reached out to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I reached out to him. I was really excited. I've always been like really excited and interested in him. But I definitely the first time we ever met, I asked him, "Are you single?" Because I knew we've always had kind of a dynamic that's not, I was like, it wouldn't be really appropriate. I said this to him. This is part of what really is tough. But I said this to him. I said, it wouldn't be appropriate for us to hang out. If you're with someone, like, please tell me now before, we continue anything else. And that was just a super casual, like we grabbed lunch or whatever.
And he was like, no, single as can be.
He had a weird pause that I should have leaned more into, but I was like, whatever.
He was like, single?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Emily. I mean, you had to know we were going to have a big reaction to this, right? So Andy, you can't stop laughing.
Did you steal the cookies from the cookie jar? No.
Exactly. It was pretty similar to that, actually.
So, Emily, because I always, make callers do this. Can you distill this down into one question? I assume the question is, should I keep dating him even though he's not moving out? Like what's happening? Correct?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I'm genuinely curious if either of you have dated anyone who's living with an ex. And then my other question was just personal experiences are always interesting.
What was the other question?
My other question is, do you think this is a workable situation at all?
Okay. Is he currently employed? You mentioned that he had a rough year.
Yes, he's had a really hard year. He is, because that was part of it, is he's like, I don't have money to move, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm barely getting my feet together. And then he had this injury and it just went on. And then his car, it was just like, wow, like really tough. Like, and then
you want to be there for him, but also...
but also it's been tough. Like so many issues, like just getting to know him. Like within month 2, we had like so many problems. Like I was at the hospital with him, like, and then his roommate like threw all his stuff in the front yard. She like was threatened to like locked him out of the house. Like when he got back from the hospital.
It was definitely single.
So it's just.
And sorry, just to confirm this, when he tells you stuff like that about his roommate, this is just, you're only getting his side of the story. Like you're not interacting with her in any capacity.
Correct. I would love the chance to actually talk to her and meet her. She's been like very aggressive, and I understand, but she's like made threats against me. Like I'm going to slash her tires if she pulls up. She's like, she's been really aggressive.
So she's not your biggest fan.
Wait, but she's.
This is according to him, though.
This is all according to him, and I've seen a few messages that somewhat corroborate his story, but she definitely has her side of the story, which I would actually love to hear. I'd love to talk to her, but
I would love
I don't
to hear
see that happening.
I would love to hear her side of the story.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Andy, this is where you, as the man in the room, the straight man in the room, do you have thoughts? To me, this is I've got to say, if this were a magic 8 ball, the outlook is not good to me so far. But I would love to. Do you have a different take on this?
I'm just super confused, to be honest.
Okay, so ask the questions that would
I don't understand why he's not moving out.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I'm coming from. We talk about this probably once a week. So, and I told him I was going to ask outside counsel, so he knows I'm doing it. And I told him, I was like,
and we are your outside counsel, appointed
Yes.
by the court officially.
You're my outside counsel. That's correct. Right. I told him that I was going to try to like paint him in as fair a light as possible, which because I want an honest answer, because I don't feel like it's super black and white. A big part of why he is the way he is, and I think he'd be okay with me sharing this, is that he's an orphan and he's had basically the worst childhood you can imagine. Like whatever, like worst case scenario, that's been his childhood. So when he builds the home somewhere, it means more to him than I think the average person. Like I had a really stable home, and I've moved around a lot, and I've definitely used having like a home base as leverage to be able to just kind of hop around and, you know what I mean, kind of be free. Whereas he has no family in the area. He doesn't have any, he doesn't have a safety net. Like he has been homeless before for getting evicted really abruptly. So he takes moving like incredibly seriously. And he feels like I'm being unsympathetic to how difficult it is for him to move. Like it produces a lot of anxiety for him.
Done. That's what? It. That kills it for me.
Oh, that's not okay.
I was actually giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Oh,
completely.
Wait. So to me, that actually did garner some sympathy from me.
No sympathy from me. That's bullshit.
Really?
Bullshit. Okay. What, he's made a home with his ex-girlfriend? Give me a break. No, I don't buy it. Like... I don't care. Then forget it. No. No.
Wait, so
I get it. I mean, I get that.
That's
side
BS.
Of it. Sure.
I have sympathy. I have sympathy for this guy. Obviously, he has not had a great go in many ways, particularly recently. But the story about the home he created. He's created a home with his ex-girlfriend that he's renting. What is that? That's nonsense. That's nonsense.
Okay. I have a question.
I don't buy it at all.
Okay, I'm steering this in a different direction. How often do you see him and talk to him? Like, how many times do you go on dates with him? I want to now start seeing if he actually is broken up with her. Because everything you know about her and their relationship is through him. I'm just curious. Yes. How often do you talk to him, see him, everything?
Yeah, like we talk every day, sometimes twice a day. We FaceTime most nights. He will leave his phone out. He spends pretty much every weekend here. When he wasn't working, he was here for days at a time.
Okay.
That's a real relationship. Yeah. Has he told you he loves you?
Yeah, but it's kind of complicated because I mean, I'm not a words person. First, I'll preface by saying I'm not a words person, but we've always kind of, he's the only person actually I've been like, you're like family to me. Regardless of whether we work out, I really want to see him succeed. Like, I don't know why, and I've been like that since I met him. I really want to see him make it. I don't know why. I just feel very strongly about that. So we've always kind of had that dynamic of being like, I love you, your family, like, you know what I mean? That type of thing.
Does he say love you or does he say I love you? It's a big difference.
No, he says I love you.
Oh, he does?
He says I love you.
Okay, so he says I love you. You talk every day.
Do you love him?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I also have told him, like, if this was anyone else, like, it wouldn't be a question. I mean, you know what I mean? I would have been gone 5 months ago.
I believe you. I feel like he's got to move in with you.
In with her?
Yeah.
Is that an option? That's not what I was expecting you to say.
That's what I think should happen.
Have you thought about letting him move in with you?
I assume you'd be okay with that. Yeah.
I actually wouldn't. I don't want him to move in with me. I don't like the idea. He has jumped girls and I get that, but I feel that he really needs to figure out his independence.
I completely agree. And I'm happy you're saying that.
I mean, the reason I typed in is because I'm like very, very close to throwing in I'm right there. And I've given him very many warnings.
I didn't realize that. And I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. It was in the email. To be honest, I forgot.
That changes it for me.
The fact that she's ready to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Is you throwing in the towel about him living with his ex only?
Yes, because of what I feel it represents about his I feel like he lacks motivation. I think he lacks character. I think it to me, it represents core personality traits that I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I can do this, that he's so anxious. I didn't realize his anxiety was to the level it was. I love moving. I love traveling. I'm kind of long-term, how would this work? You know what I mean? Is he going to plant somewhere else and then be paralyzed again? And then if I feel like I'm I've been okay with kind of being in a pulling up You know what I mean? Like everyone needs to be pulled up sometimes.
I'm getting that vibe when you said I get the vibe that you're his cheerleader. You want to see him succeed.
Completely. Yeah.
That I think is, and there's another thing that I keep sort of hovering on in my mind here is the history you have. There's this sort of idea that it's like, oh, you're rekindling, you feel like kind of family. I'm sure you're rooting for him in more ways than one. I can't help but wonder if you didn't have that history with him, if you just met him, if you met him on Bumble or something, went on a date with him and all this turned. Okay.
No,
okay.
I don't think so.
So, Andy, I think everyone knows that I'm Canadian. Therefore, I have a certain health insurance that I don't think is standard. And worth mentioning that not every doctor accepts my health insurance.
Yeah, your health insurance is crappy.
I don't know if it's necessary that everyone knows how crappy my health insurance is, but let me just say, it has been a challenge finding the right team of doctors and healthcare providers who accept my health insurance. And that's why I am such a big fan of ZocDoc. It's basically a search engine for healthcare. And not only can you search by reviews and ratings, but also by health insurance. So you can just filter who takes this type of health insurance, this very specific type that I happen to have. I'm not kidding about this. And then you get all these results. And I found a doctor 10 blocks from us who I love and who's now my main doctor in the States.
Regardless of your crap insurance, all insurance, whether they're crap or not, make life difficult for you to find a doctor.
It's almost like they don't want you to find a doctor.
Do you know what I did before ZocDoc? I used to literally call my insurance company, find a doctor.
Yeah.
And then that could take 2 days.
Oh, yeah, because you could be on hold for ages listening to some elevator music.
Yeah, good or bad.
Yeah.
No, nothing against the elevator music, but you can spend hours of your time just calling your insurance company. Then I would call my doctor, or the doctor that, they recommended.
Yeah.
I'd say, are you sure you take this? Are you sure this is going to be covered? And then they would say, oh, let me check.
Yeah.
And then
it's a whole thing.
It's unbelievable. Every time I have to go to a specialist. It's crazy.
Yeah.
ZocDoc is amazing. It makes it so easy. I'm upset. It upsets me.
It's definitely one of those, how did I survive before this?
Yeah.
Because truly, once again, as with other products we've talked about, like, is it just Google otherwise? It kind of is.
Yeah.
We're also talking thousands upon thousands of real user ratings and reviews.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a doctor out there who has terrible bedside manner, and now you know, and that could help you make your decision.
It's a one-stop shop for getting a doctor's appointment. You get the crowdsourcing for reviews.
Yes.
You get the ease of insurance information, and you get the availability of the doctor without having
That's the craziest part. Oh my God, we haven't even talked about that. You can schedule your appointment
to the minute
on ZocDoc.
You don't have to leave.
So ZocDoc is a free app that shows you doctors who are patient reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them.
Go to ZocDoc.com/Shandy and download the ZocDoc app for free.
Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours.
That's ZocDoc.com/Shandy.
ZocDoc.com/Shandy.
So guess what I'm doing, Sharleen?
What are you doing, Andy?
I'm building a website.
You are.
Well, I'm not.
I mean, I already knew that. I knew that. But for the sake of this ad, Andy's building a website. Let's all guess collectively what platform he's using. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. What is Squarespace?
That is correct.
Yay! Yes, not our first Squarespace ad, clearly, but it's legit. We're big fans of Squarespace.
That was the $200 Jeopardy question.
It was a really easy one.
It was a layup.
It was.
So I said to you that I'm building a website, but really, am I building a website?
Not really.
Squarespace is building my website.
Yes.
I do almost nothing. I literally am just like, I'm like a kid. I'm like, bah, 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 bah. That's it.
You're like, red goes with red, blue goes to blue, triangle and triangle.
Cylinder and cylinder, triangle and triangle.
It's so true. Yeah. Squarespace is really gorgeous and professional looking websites for dummies, or not dummies, but really anyone.
Wait, Squarespace? Is it? I just realized what it is.
You're putting the square in the square-shaped space.
Well, that, and also I just realized that square space is a space that's square. that's the shape of a website.
Wow.
I mean, it technically should be rectangle space if we want to really nitpick, but I just figured that out.
It doesn't have the same ring.
The way I also recently figured out, what was the thing I just figured out that was unbelievable? Sandals. Sandals.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So maybe Squarespace is that blank canvas of a URL, blah, 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 yoururl.com. What do? How daunting is that? Are you going to pay a website designer? Maybe you don't have the budget for that. That ain't cheap. Let's be honest.
No, it isn't.
Or do you go to Squarespace and basically plug and play? You pick one of their gorgeous templates.
Mm-hmm.
You put in your graphics, your images, and your information, and voila. Indeed. You suddenly have a beautiful website that frankly is more than just looks. Let's talk about that too.
Function.
They have everything you could possibly need.
E-commerce.
Scheduling, analytics,
blog,
email campaigns, mobile optimization. That one's big, by the way.
Yeah. You ever do like in the old days, you build a website and then you go on your phone and it's like, looks like. So head to squarespace.com/Shandy for a free trial.
And when you're ready to launch, use offer code Shandy to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Squarespace.com/Shandy.
I assume he's not living there rent free.
No, he pays rent.
Okay, so he pays rent month to month. I don't believe that he can't find another place where he would pay a similar amount of money.
He can. I've gone as far as like I've sent him listings. I've offered to help him move. I've offered to show up with a U-Haul. You're
like his mother.
I've offered to like drive to look at places like and send him videos of it. Like I don't know what else I can do, and I've told him that.
How does he react when you send him that stuff?
He used to just be like, "Oh yeah, like some of these might work," like just very blasé, like no urgency. You know what I mean? Recently, because I haven't seen him in a couple weeks. I've been trying to like pull back a lot. And I told him, I said, hey, I don't think I want to like hang out anymore until you move. And at this point, because it got to this point, I'm like, I don't know, even if he does move at this point, it's like, well, now I had to force you into moving. I feel like I'm in such a weird position because I don't know the difference between like setting boundaries and trying to have self-respect and trying to like, you know what I mean? Not be in mother role, not be like a pulling up role, but also not pushing people into like ultimatums or to a corner.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's a tricky.
If they had already been broken up, but they were still living together because it was mutually convenient or just more financially responsible or all these reasons that had nothing to do with this. I am getting a vibe, and I could be way off base. This could be totally unfair, especially since you told him you're coming on and he may listen to this.
I will probably not send him this.
Okay, good. Because I want to speak honestly. I get a distinct vibe that you don't have the full picture here. I don't know what that looks like, if he's still hooking up with his ex, if there's still, for me, there's more here than you know.
Yeah, and there has to be, right? Yeah.
Maybe all that is that he's incredibly passive beyond your wildest dreams. In which case, that's still not good.
Yeah.
If it really is just everything he's painting it to be, like the fact that he could just still be like, well, you know, it's convenient. She looks after my pet. I get a ride to work sometimes. Yeah, I don't have my affairs in order, but I still don't want to pay the same rent living somewhere else. Yeah. It just doesn't stack up to me, even just for the sake of making you happy, even if he's totally content with this arrangement. Right. If he really valued how you feel and what the trajectory of your relationship could look like, he would be like, oh, it would mean a lot to Emily.
Yeah, I got to be honest. If the person I was dating was living with someone who was threatening to slash my tires...
we're not even talking about that.
I wouldn't care what the situation was. They got to get out of there.
I got to say, it's possible that is true, but I also just don't trust this guy.
I don't trust him either.
Do we have reason to trust him?
No, none.
He claimed his hand was not in the cookie jar, or whatever your analogy was.
His hand was fully in the jar.
I mean, the start of this iteration of your relationship is built on a lie.
Yeah, it's true.
And look, I am not like holier than thou when it comes to this stuff. You know, we talk about cheating and lying and all that stuff on this podcast all the time. But just ever since day one, especially given your history, the fact that you dated before, this guy's looking out for number one.
Yeah.
And it's most convenient for him to stay in this arrangement. He doesn't care about his ex. And I'm sorry to say, I don't think he cares that much about you based on his lack of action in the last, let's say, 4 months. Let's say we give him a 2-month grace period to sort of realize that this is what he wants or whatever. What I don't even understand is, like, even for himself, doesn't he not want to live with his ex, even outside of his relationship with you?
Agree.
I've drilled him on this. Yeah. I'm like, don't you, like, I've told him I can't imagine anything worse than what you're doing right now. Like cheating on somebody and then breaking up with them and then having to see them every day and then get favors from them. Like that sounds like a literal nightmare for me.
Oh,
I like wouldn't be able to. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. In your home, especially with how contentious he's painting their relationship to be. And that's why I do wonder how truthful he's being. Because if it really is as bad as he's telling you it is, how the hell is he staying there?
Yeah, I know. Well, and a lot of this was towards the beginning. At this point, he's told me that, like, she has another boyfriend and she's gone all the time with this other guy, which maybe is true. And I have been over to his house one time since then. It was a couple weeks ago, but she was very much like she needed to stop by the house to grab something. So, like, he had to, like, wait outside with the stuff because, like, she didn't want to come in the house because I was there. It's just very weird. Wow. Very, very strange.
That's not good. My exes, like, Charlene's friends with my exes.
Yeah.
Like, they don't ask her to stay, you know, wait, I can't do the reverse. Anyway, you know what I'm saying?
You got lost.
It's late. It's late here on the East Coast.
You know, life is too short.
Yeah.
You
You
so
seem like
young.
a cool cat. You deserve better than this.
You're so young.
You don't deserve better. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're a bad person. But you seem like you're okay to hang out with. I think you should do better than this.
Have you told any of your friends about this situation?
Yeah, I've told my sisters, who are like, I talk to them every day. Yeah, I mean, they don't. They can't. I can't really talk to them about it, actually, because they get very upset.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, no one cares about you more than the people who care about you.
That's true. Yeah. Good point. Nicely done. What kind of guys did you date in high school?
I have a bad track record. I have dated one very nice guy. I was with him for a long time. I didn't have the passion, but everyone else has been a train wreck. They've had horrendous backgrounds, and they've been, not very nice to be, to say the least.
I think that's something you should think about.
From the second you found out that he was in a relationship, when did you find out he was in a relationship?
He started getting really cagey. We had a couple times we hung out, and it was definitely just friends. And then
wait.
I think
you started hanging out just as friends? Like, when did the hookup happen?
It happened on, like, the third time I saw him. I pushed because I thought he was single, so I pushed. There's this 24-hour cafe, really close to his house, which I love those, and it's super cool. And I was like, we should go at like 3 a.m. and like get coffee or whatever. And so he's like, all right, well, you'll have to spend the night, if we do that, right? So, and I was like, okay.
It's a package deal, you gotta sleep with me if we're getting coffee.
Right. And I do live like an hour away from him right now, so that's another factor. So we never made it to the cafe, and I spent the night, and then it was like, I was like, oh, so don't you have roommates? That's how I asked. And she was out of town, which, I asked if he had roommates, and then he's like, yeah, I have roommates. And then I was like, are they girls? And then he said, yeah. And then I said, have you ever hooked up with them? Because I was like, he seems like he would.
These are all good questions.
And then, and at that point, we weren't really in a relationship or anything. I was just like, whoa, cool. Like, we're back in the same town. This is so fun to hang out with you. And then he said, he's like, yeah, things are a little weird with one of my roommates right now. And I was like, what do you mean? And then it just kind of went from there, like, kind of pressed him on it. And then I was like, oh, you've like been in a 2-year relationship with somebody. And he's like, well, I never called it a relationship. And,
And is this before you hooked up or after? And this is not, I'm not asking in a judgmental way.
It was after.
I'm just curious. Okay. So it was after.
So he has more than one roommate? Sorry, I missed that.
He did have more than one roommate for like a little bit, for a couple months, but then that roommate has been gone for like 3-4 months now.
Okay. Did he hook up with her too? Or?
Yeah. No.
Okay. Just checking.
And according to him, and I honestly am not putting much stock in this question or answer because I don't trust much of what this guy says, but according to him, what was the status of their relationship, like the condition of their relationship leading up to this, to you guys hooking up?
With the roommate?
Yeah, with his ex. According to him, were they already on the rocks?
Oh, yeah. So from what he says, which I agree, I know it's never a good sign. I give him a lot more grace than I give anyone else. But anyway, according to him, they have been doing bad for a while. Like, she have never been officially together. They've broken up and gone back together many, many times. And when she left, he said they hadn't really they hadn't been doing well for a long time. Is the point, is what he says.
Okay. So like I said, I put very little stock in that answer or explanation.
This guy must be really good looking.
Yeah. Is he amazing in bed?
Yeah, he must be just like James Dean.
He
I'm
is.
Picturing James Dean.
Okay. I think he is. Not everyone, but he's like exactly my type, like for sure. Yeah.
That's hard.
And he's very good. He's really good in bed too. Yeah. Like he's just really
I mean, I figured.
She said that so
he knows what to do. He
do not let that cloud. Don't let that cloud your judgment.
No.
I've learned the hard way. Do not let that cloud your judgment. You can lose years to someone like that.
It's not her fault, though.
No,
it's not her fault. We're all
normal.
human. We've done it before.
Oh, I'm not judging. This is
it.
not coming from a place of judgment. It's coming from a place of me caring.
It's dangerous,
about you.
though.
Yeah. Okay. One final question before I think we let her rip, even though we've already kind of let her rip.
Yeah,
we let her rip for the final time.
Done ripped.
Emily, what about this relationship is special? How does he make you feel? What does he say?
Yeah. How does he lift you up?
Being amazing. Yeah. How does he lift you up? How does he make you feel seen, safe, cared for? How does he root for you the way you root for him? I'm dying to know.
Objection.
I was hoping you'd ask this. He makes me feel exceptionally confident, like gorgeous. I've never felt like prettier or more like good about myself. He's constantly affirming me. He'll surprise me with like gifts. He's taken, even when he's had like very little, and he's been like this for as long as I've known it, even when he has very little money, he's very generous, not just with me, but like just in general. He loves to like help people out. He's really generous with his stuff and with his, belongings. He's super sweet. He's really creative. We both are like artists. So like we'll go out and like do photos together. Really fun. There's genuinely no one I have found yet in my 27 years that I enjoy spending time with more. Like I just love hanging out with him. I think about my weekend and I'm like, I really want to hang out with him, and I hate that because there's all these problems, but and we just have also had really weird moments, like, and this happens a lot. I don't like stuff like this because I'm very skeptical and pragmatic, but we've had like people, like this just happened a couple weeks ago. This guy, like old man, walked up to us and like started asking us how long we've been together and was like, you guys need to stick together because, I haven't seen stuff like this very often. And like, basically you guys are going to be really happy if you stay together. And we've had random strangers like say that to us. Like every time we've been in town together, we'll have really random stuff happen. Like people will invite us, like give us like roof access. That just happened like last time I hung out with him. Like just random, just weird. It feels like everyone around us is just, it's like suddenly like the universe opens up. Like everything suddenly, like I have all these options I never had when I go out alone or when I've been with other people. People will cover meals, like just random stuff that hasn't happened with anybody else.
It feels magical and serendipitous, right?
Yeah.
It feels super magical and serendipitous. Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes like you look at these situations in black and white and then you hear this kind of stuff and you're like, I could see why that's hard to let go. What if you started dating other people? What if you just said to him like, you know what? Not cool with this, but we could still do whatever, hang out, but I'm going to see other people. How do you think he'd react?
I've told him that before, and he is not supportive of that. I don't know if I just said this is what I'm doing, but he's definitely not into
And when
that.
you brought it up before, was it in a ultimatum way or was it just like a suggestion, like maybe we should do this? Like how was it broached?
I think I brought it up 3 different times, and I just kind of said it like, I think I'm going to start dating other people. Like I might go on a date this weekend.
And did you?
I've never followed through. Yeah.
Okay. Starting now, especially in this relationship, I want you, when you say something like that, to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to add value and weight to the words that you say and make him respect what you say more.
It's a tough bluff. You don't want to bluff that.
No.
Because then it just looks passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Or it looks like you're flimsy.
Yeah.
You know, he knows that you're full of shit.
Yeah.
So I think that you should follow through for sure. I think you're right. Yeah. Start dating other people. That's my advice.
Okay.
You know, we've had someone on before who was sort of obsessed with the idea of like a really special story, like a sort of fairy tale. Like I think that you're putting a little too much stock in what makes this unique and special and serendipitous and magical. You have this backstory, you used to date, and you're overcoming all these odds together. And like he makes you feel so whatever. You're both so creative and artistic and all this stuff. Like the fact that you're focusing on how the world seems to open up when you spend time with him, that's really lovely. But I also think that can totally happen with someone who isn't right for you. And you can have strangers coming up to you with like in the worst relationship of your life telling you that you're a beautiful couple.
You know what this guy is? He's a fantastic side piece.
Yeah, to even say side piece is almost like to give him too much airtime. Like
wow, it's harsh.
It is harsh. I know that's harsh. I don't think this guy
I raise your side piece.
He might validate you now and make you feel seen and beautiful and the sex is amazing. And I understand the magical nature of where you are right now. But do not discount how this is affecting your, like the bigger picture of your self-esteem. The fact that he's not laying down like the building blocks necessary to actually pursue a relationship with you. And I'm not saying that the two of you couldn't date while he's living with his ex. The important piece here is that you care. You don't want him to be living with her. Think about the toxicity existing in this magical relationship right now. The fact that he's you're getting threats from her, or he's telling you about how much she hates you, and she's throwing his stuff out. Like, this is too messy. You're too young. It's like, you don't have to worry about kids and in-laws and all this. Like, it should be easy and fun. And I understand that the fun is there, but it's at too high a cost. And I think that this is going to cost your self-esteem in the long run, even if in the moment he makes you feel wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just word vomited. I have strong opinions about that.
And I think this guy has probably done this same kind of dynamic with a lot of other women, is my guess.
He lies with a little too much ease.
Yeah.
The only thing you have. Okay. So
I've caught him in other lies, not as big as that one, but he just sneaks in. I've been like, well, that's not true because you said this earlier. You know, I've caught him on a few different things.
Oh, Emily, why don't you heed that more? Heed that. Seriously.
She's so good looking and so good in bed.
It is a drug.
I think I've been trying to keep it like, well, I can be like the cool, like, doesn't matter. It's no big deal. It's casual in my mind. But then it's just it's really not that dynamic. So I think I've been okay with it because I'm like, well, I'm getting what I want and this is what I want to do with my time. And you know what I mean? So like, I've been kind of trying to have that mindset about it. Like, you know, I'm actually in control of this situation because this is the dynamic I want and it's casual. But then he's kind of asking for like not casual and not really doing what I would need for it to not be casual. So I think that's Now, I'm going to say something I never say. This is a first. But I think that you might be able to have your cake and eat it too in this situation. I think that if you, based on the feelings I believe you have for him, I think that you can see other people and once in a while.
That's idealistic.
I think she can. I think this is the rare exception.
No, I think some people could. I don't think she can. And it's not a diss on you.
No, I think she can. I have faith.
I think she can. She could just use him as the side piece that you think he is.
I actually think this might be a rare exception.
I think it would depend like if I got excited about someone else, like how excited I was. Because nothing is tougher than when you go out on a few really bad dates and you're like, man, it's tough out there, you know? But if I went on a few really good dates, then right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you could just look, maybe I'm being facetious, but I think regardless of what you do, you should keep him on the side, whether that's as a piece or as a nothing.
I want you to start regarding this relationship through the lens of you never having had any history with him. How would you treat him?
Yeah.
If he lied to you the first time you hung out?
Exactly. Or what if he was like a little, like not that hot?
I don't.
That's another question you got to ask yourself.
No, I mean, it's true.
You got to, let's be honest.
It would be way easier. Yeah. I mean, it's true. Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah. And I also think that if you do distance yourself emotionally from him a little bit and move on with your life, it's going to be very interesting to see how he reacts.
Yes.
Very interesting. So,
yeah.
Remember that even if he's great in every way, other than the lying thing,
the other stuff.
The pile of lies, all of which you've caught him in.
Yes. And every time I've caught him in something, he's very, I don't know. I just really empathize with people like this. I just feel like he wasn't given a fair
shake.
Yeah, but that's not your problem. That's not your problem.
That's not your problem.
It really isn't. You're not. This is not. You're not a charity
adult.
Organization.
He's an adult.
Yeah.
I'm sensing that you want to build him up. You believe in him. You're rooting for him.
Yeah.
That is a slippery slope. If he can't even, when receiving all this wind beneath his wings in the form of you, can't even move out.
Yeah, or commit to you more. Okay, let's say we feel sorry for him. Yeah, okay, fine. That's fine. But he has to give you something too.
It speaks to such passivity.
Yeah.
That's what's concerning me here. What's that going to look like down the road?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about that.
It's not good. And as far as lies go, like they're like cockroaches. You know, you see one cockroach, there's like 100.
So you're his lie. Oh, you think his lies. Yeah.
He's probably lying about everything.
Yeah. And I think you should maybe, some people I think obsess too much over potential red flags. Well, I almost feel like you give people too much of the benefit of the doubt. And Andy thinks you should see other people and maybe keep him as a side piece. I think you should see other people and not keep him as a side piece.
I get the feeling based on just knowing you from the little experience we've had, I think you could have an FWB and be clear-headed about finding a new partner.
Are you proud
I've given you that. That is the first person, the first caller I've ever given that confidence to.
I'm laughing at how you just threw FWB in there. Are you proud of yourself after missing totally DTR?
I'm hip. I skateboard too. I broke my arm skateboarding just last week. I don't care. I didn't even get a cast. I'm too tough for that.
Emily, you had to expect this response.
I thought so. Sometimes you guys catch me off guard, but yeah, it's good to hear because when I talk to him, I get really like, I don't know. He really confuses me. I'm like, I thought I knew like where it started. I don't know. It's really confusing. So it's good for me because I just didn't want to verge on the side of being, unsympathetic or like not giving enough time or
you have given
so that helps
this
clarify.
6 months is enough time for some people to meet and get engaged.
Yeah,
that's true.
6 months is in the grand scheme of things it's not a lot of time, but it's enough time to be like, oh, I want to move out living with my ex. It's not that short amount. It's not 6 weeks.
Yeah
it's
like your outfit, the yarn in the background, everything I'm seeing is black and white.
That's true, actually.
Very
the entire
symbolic.
scene is quite black and white. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to paint the whole picture and I think I did. And I think I've been trying to make it gray because I want it to be gray. But I think, I think I know, I've just been, like you said. So I've been giving way more grace than I think I should have. And I've been kind of edging towards that point anyways. I feel like I just needed the final, outside. I really respect both your opinion as well. So thank you for sharing it.
Oh, thank you.
That's very nice of
Our
you.
pleasure.
I want you to have a little more of like a sense of what you deserve in general.
Yeah.
moving forward. Yeah. The fact that this is kind of a pattern for you. You said you dated one great guy, one really nice guy. Maybe do a little homework on why you're drawn. Like, are you into bad boys?
I mean, it sounds like it.
That was a question.
I was about to say it, but I let you say it.
I find most people really boring. And I think people that have really crazy upbringings, I'm just like, wow, you're so different than everyone else. Like, genuinely, it's not like, oh, you're so different. It's like you literally see the world like completely sideways from how I do. And I find it fascinating to be around. But there's also a high cost. You know?
Did you have a crazy upbringing?
Somewhat. In some ways, it was really normal. There was definitely an underbelly for sure. That was probably more like the people I'm attracted to. Yeah.
So do you feel like a kinship there? Like you're bonding?
Yeah, I think there is a kinship between like any sort of, I don't like the word survivors, but I think there's definitely, you can kind of feel it when you meet people that's like, you've kind of, you know what I mean? You've been through something that,
But you could meet someone who's interesting and has had a rocky upbringing and is potentially even a bad boy who actually treats you really well and wants to build something for your future.
It's funny hearing you say bad boy. Someone who might be a bad boy.
Are you mocking me?
It's just cute. I understand what you're looking for. When I was dating, I was so bored by so many people. I can tell you right now that you can find that edge you're looking for while finding goodness. It does exist. But there's an element here of you building people up here and accepting less than you deserve. And ultimately, you are responsible for that pattern.
That's true.
You're the common denominator in that, you know?
I have one last question. Let's say he's like, oh my God, I moved out like next week. I don't think this will happen, but I'm just saying, if he calls me and he's like, I moved out, like I'm at a new place, what would you have me do if it's like in the next 2 weeks or something?
Oh, I would say that it's guilty until proven innocent. Give him a little bit of leash and see what happens for the next few months and see how he behaves. I think you should give him a chance if he does that. Yeah, why
you wouldn't
not?
say like it's too late, because I'm kind of at the point where like if you move at this point, I'm like, it's such a.
It's a little too late. I think you should sort of have a couple toes out the door, not fully jump right back in, but give him. I would say give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. See where it goes. See if the patterns repeat themselves. See if the lying continues. See how much more he commits to you, and but with a very big grain of salt.
Okay, I agree with Andy, provided he does it unprompted. You don't have to bring it up again. You don't have to mention dating other people again. If that happens, then sure, you can sort of take it day by day and watch his actions. But if you have to bring this up one more time, it's already to me. This is already done to me. I'm sorry. Please get on the apps. Please. I'm having a big reaction to this one.
Not boring dating, not boring guys. What's a not boring dating app?
You know what's not boring is being valued and treated well.
That's true.
No, you're right. You're right.
Do a little homework for yourself about what you deserve, what would make you happy, not what would build him up or make him successful. What would make you can you imagine having a partner by your side that does for you what you're doing for this guy? You'd be unstoppable. How magnificent would that be? A true partnership.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I want to give you a hug. I'm giving you a digital hug right now. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in and hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Nice chatting.
Thank you. You guys too. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Keep us updated.
Yes, please do.
I will.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Oh, man. I know I had a big reaction to that.
She deserves better.
She deserves better. Do you think, when she did talk about his background, he's never had like a strong home life and all that stuff.
That's not her job to fix that.
It's not. And here's the thing. She says that he wants to commit to her. He wants this. He wants that.
But
it just feels like words. Yes.
Show, don't tell.
It feels like words. He wants to make it official. A great way to get that ball rolling is to move out from living with your ex when she has shown she cares. That's the part that I want to focus on. I don't want people to be like, to focus on the fact that he's maybe not in a financial position to leave. I'm sorry. He's paying rent right now. He can pay rent somewhere else.
Yeah.
They are not co-parenting and sharing a mortgage.
She's got to move on.
You know, we already, I think, are way easier on lying than most people. Sometimes when I see the comments, like the stock people put in lying, I'm like, whoo, wow, that's a like strong reaction. Considering everyone does lie in some way.
Some people don't differentiate between white lies, gray lies, and black lies.
Yeah.
You know, you got to really, lying is not all one bucket.
Yeah.
But, you know, perpetual, really kind of malicious lying is a real problem.
Yes.
It's a real red flag.
Yes.
And I think he falls into that. He's just there. He's in the red.
The fact that she's caught him, just like fact checked him. She's like, oh, but you said this about stuff that from what I gather doesn't even matter.
And she seems so forgiving. She seems so willing to like just kind of let it slide. And I think, as she said, she's honestly said, and I knew there was something going on. There must have been something there because she's not. She seems like a good catch to me. She seems cool.
Yes. Oh, so the
like
fact that the sex is so great.
Yeah, I knew that there was something physical there.
Yeah.
Which, look, everyone has fallen into that. Mm-hmm. Everybody.
Mm-hmm. But let me tell you, that relationship in my past, I consider the worst. The relationship in which I fell into that.
I think most
and
times.
Same with you. I know that you too.
Most times is the case.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that one of the reasons why it is so great is because there's so...
Well, you're compromising everything for that.
Yes.
You're making excuses for everything else for that.
She herself said that she's trying to make it more gray because she wants it to be more gray.
There's underlying, not hatred, but disdain that actually makes the physicality even better.
I 100% think that.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes the toxicity or the wrongness, the complicatedness is what makes it so hot for a while.
That's why I always say legalize hard drugs. Not cool anymore.
That's the takeaway.
That's it. Thank you for listening to Dear Shandy.
I suspect the Shandys will have a strong reaction to this one. I mean, I hope so. Otherwise, I'm out here flailing in the wind alone. I just can't imagine that anyone would see this super differently.
No one can malign us for suggesting she should get on with her life in this situation. But as I said, I think there might be some sort of middle ground. I'll give this situation the benefit of the doubt, but he needs to grow up. He needs to think about her more than himself. And that's not happening right now.
No, I don't think he's thinking about anyone, including his ex. And I guarantee you that he has hooked up with his ex.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't want to say that to her face, and I know she'll listen to this, so she'll hear me say it now.
She's not stupid. She knows.
There is a lot there that she doesn't know.
I think she just came on for the Shandy nudge. She was like leaning, and we're just like...
Above all, show, don't tell.
100%.
He's telling her how much he wants to be with her and not doing the one action that would make her feel like he was serious.
Words without action is like ice cream without sugar.
Well, and that's why she too needs to be held accountable for the fact that she 3 times suggested seeing other people and never followed through on it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that to be mean or to nitpick. It's just that I feel like you have to, especially when dealing with someone whose words mean so little, you need to make your words mean extra.
Agreed.
Each word has tons of gravity to it. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to start seeing other people. Go on at least one date.
Yep.
Okay. Rant over. If you enjoyed what you heard today, you know what we will ask of you, and that is to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram, and...
TikTok.
Thanks.
Good.
I love that you did a second one for good measure.
Just to make sure.
Leave us Apple and Spotify podcast ratings and reviews. Tell your friends, and generally do all the things that you would do to support a podcast where the hosts get so passionate and angry at their callers. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye. Dear Shandy.